Hi, I'm Serena Simmons and welcome to 8 Model Psychology. Today we're going to be taking a look at the contradiction of being human. Now, what does that even mean, you might well be asking? And that's a very good question. So consider this. Have you ever felt like you are an introverted extrovert? Have you ever felt scared and excited all at the same time? Have you ever felt happy sad? Have you ever felt courageous but scared? Have you ever felt like life is so utterly precious and yet throwaway at the same time? Or maybe you consider yourself to be lazy and yet ambitious. I think you get the gist. If you have ever felt like this, in other words, if you feel that you have had contradictory beliefs live side by side, then you're not alone. Essentially, what I'm saying is having these contradictions as part of who we are and our characters is actually a completely human trait. It's completely normal to have and to harbour these thoughts and feelings that seemingly live on completely opposite ends of the spectrum, and yet you kind of go through a motion of feeling these different feelings at various points, either throughout your lifespan or sometimes within the same day or even the same moment. Now, why is this important? Why should we address contradiction? Well, we look at contradictions and your contradictory beliefs in the belief section of the perform part of the 8 model. Now, the reason that we do this, and really the reason for the whole model itself, is to dig deep on the psychology of being human and ultimately to dig deep on the psychology of you. In other words, it's a roadmap or a blueprint to get to understand yourself better, and the more insight and the more that we know about how we work and how we function and what helps us and what hinders us, the more chance we have of being able to make tweaks and changes and in turn help us to live a more happy, productive and successful life. Now, having done this work for a long time and working in the field of psychology, I can tell you that a lot of people come to me with these contradictory beliefs and it's essentially causing them some angst. In other words, they're struggling. They're saying, look, I feel like this, but I'm doing this. So the lazy ambitious is a really good example of that. In other words, I might have someone come to me, and I have had in the past, where they say, I really want to achieve these things. I really want to do this big thing and leave my job, but I just feel completely apathetic about how I get there. Contradiction in terms. Now, understanding your own contradictions is important because it's a great starting point, and it's the start and a catalyst for change. We address this in psychology, and in psychology we look at something called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is essentially having inconsistent thoughts or feelings, typically about some kind of behaviour or attitude you hold. So a really simple example of this, and the one that I was always given at school during A-level psychology, was smokers. You're a smoker, listen up. Take an average smoker. So imagine that you're talking to them and you're asking them all about their thoughts about smoking. They might well tell you it's utterly disgusting. It's a filthy habit and no one should do it. Actually, I do believe that. Do not smoke. Don't smoke. It's dirty and horrible and it will kill you. Okay, sandwich board off. They might also tell you that they smell horrible and that they spend loads and loads of money. They might also tell you it's a complete waste of money. But then you might ask, do you smoke? Yes, says the smoker. Cognitive dissonance. Like I said, cognitive dissonance is highlighting the inconsistent thoughts and behaviours in terms of what someone is saying and what they're doing, and therefore the dissonance associated with that particular behaviour. Now, obviously with the smoking example, smoking in and of itself is an issue, but from a psychology perspective, we're not only interested in those inconsistent beliefs, but I'm interested also to know whether that causes you upset or if it causes you anxiety or frustration. Like I said, here at 8 Model, we like to dig deep on these kinds of beliefs and these contradictory or inconsistent belief systems that you might hold. It's important then for you to distinguish which ones cause you upset or frustration and which ones don't. Because like I said at the start of the video, it is the nature of being human to have these contradictions. So sometimes we just need to let them sit side by side because that's just the nature of the beast. But the difference is when they cause you upset, frustration, anxiety, possibly interfere with your daily living, and actually you feel like your contradictions stop you from moving forward. I really encourage you to think about and write down some of the contradictions that you hold. Which ones are you completely okay with? Quick example from my own life, I have many contradictions in my own life, one of them being my career. In one part of my career I focus on the dark and the morbid. For those of you that don't know, I specialise in forensic and criminal psychology. And on the other side, the bright, shiny side, I look at positive psychology, having a positive mindset, change and peak performance. They could be seen as being quite contradictory. Not to me, I'm happy with that. So what we're saying is this: consider that happiness and success lies in embracing your contradictions instead of fighting them. I just encourage you to really try this on for yourself, and also to extend that same courtesy when you see others having their own contradictions and exhibiting their own contradictory behaviour. And just to end with a quote, William Blake said, "Do what you will, this world's a fiction and is made up of contradiction." I hope you like what you've seen today. Please click on the link below to subscribe, and that way you get this in your inbox every single week. Bye!